What if I told you that on February 18th, Africa witnessed turning points that reshaped liberation struggle, tested political loyalties, and accelerated revolutions? This is not just another day on the calendar, this is February 18th, a date marked by courage, confrontation, and consequence. Let's begin in Southern Africa. In February 1990, the political temperature in South Africa was rising fast. Just day earlier, on Friday 11, on February 11, Nelson Mandela had walked free after 27 years in prison. By February 18, mass rallies, negotiation, and strategic meetings were intensifying across the country. The apartheid regime, once seemingly unshakable, was now renegotiating its own survival. For decades, apartheid had enforced racial segregation through brutal laws and systematic oppressions. But Mandela's release signaled something irreversible. Across townships, cities, and universities, hope returned. Political organizations that had been banned were reimagined. The African National Congress was reorganizing. The world was watching closely. February 18 began part of the powerful transition week when South Africa stood between two eras, oppression and democracy. Now shift your attention to North America. On February 18th, 2011, protests intensified in Libya. What began days earlier as demonstration against the 42-year rule of Muammar Gaddafi was rapidly evolving into full-scale confrontation. Cities like Benghazi became centers of resistance. Security forces responded with force. The world began to realize this was no ordinary protest. It was the beginning of a revolution. For 4 decades, Gaddafi had ruled Libya and with a mixture of revolutionary rhetoric and authoritarian control. He positioned himself as a pan-African figure, investing in continental projects and advocating for a United States of Africa. Yet, domestically, dissent was not tolerated. By February 18, 2011, Libya had crossed a point of no return. Armed clashes erupted, international attention surged. Within months, the regime would collapse. But the aftermath was proved complex. Libya's uprising reshaped North Africa geopolitics and sent shockwaves through the continent. It reminded African leaders and citizens alike that power, no matter how long established, can be challenged. Now let's travel east to Kenya. On February 18th, during the tense ideological struggle of the 1960s, political debates surrounding Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and the direction of Kenya intensified national division. Kenya had gained independence in 1963, but independence did not mean unity. The young nation faced a critical question: should it align with West capitalism or adopt a more socialist path? Odinga advocated for stronger ties with socialist states and a redistribution-focused economy. His ideological clashes with the government leadership revealed deeper tension about Africa's post-colonial identity. February 18th sits within that volatile period when African nations were not only freeing themselves from colonial rule, but also deciding what kind of future they would build. Across the continent, the 1960s were filled with such defining debates. Leaders were just fighting external control. They were shaping an internal system. Leaders were not just fighting external control, they were shaping internal system. February 18 also reflects African broader diplomatic and continental evolution. During the late 20th century, African states increasingly strengthened regional cooperation, movements towards unity, trade bloc, and conflict mediation were gaining ground. While headlines often focus on crises behind the scene, African diplomats were building framework that would later evolve into stronger continental institutions. The lesson of February 18th is not only about revolution, it is about transition. Transition from imprisonment to negotiation in South Africa. Transition from authoritarian stability to uncertain uprising in Libya. Transition from colonial rule to ideological self-definition in Kenya. It is about the uncomfortable space between what was and will be. History often remembers dramatic moments, gunfire, speeches, declaration, but February 18th reminds us that transformation is a process. It's built over days, weeks, and years before exploding into visible change. On this day, Africa was not passive. It was deciding. Leaders were negotiating. Citizens were protesting. Movements were reorganizing. And the world was paying attention. If if there is one pattern that connects February 18 across decades, it is this: power is never static. In South Africa, a prisoner became a negotiator. In Libya, a ruler became vulnerable. In Kenya, ideological debate shaped a national direction. African history is not a single story of struggle. It is a story of resilience, debate, courage, and reinvention. February 18 stands as a proof that change on this continent is rarely accidental. It is demanded, it is negotiated, and sometimes it is fought for. So when you look at today's date, remember, somewhere in Africa's past, this day carried the weight of decisions that altered millions of lives. And even now, history continues to unfold because Africa does not stand still, it evolves. Thank you for watching this video. Do well to subscribe and press to that notification bell so that you can know when we post another video. Like and share this video. Thank you.